seat and sitting tall. And if you're concerned about writing everything down, Nord has already sent it in the chat, so you can access it at any time. Sitting up straight and tall, maybe closing your eyes, regrounding yourself into the shala. Slowly starting to take note of your breath. How does it feel after our pranayama class? Maybe feeling the rise and fall of your chest and belly. And feeling your breath expand in all directions within your body. And bringing your hands to heart center. Keeping that intention that we set in mind throughout our practice and throughout our day. And we'll begin this class with one soft Om together. Inhaling here. Exhaling completely. And inhaling for Om. Om. Sitting here for a moment, feeling the vibrations in your body and collectively in the space. Maybe gently fluttering your eyes open. And we'll begin this class like our other ones. We'll start with a little warm up. We're going to flow through the Surya Namaskars, and then I'll start breaking it down for you. So I'm going to put the mic down. Back row, just let me know if I need to raise my voice when we're flowing. Thank you. Right, moving any props that you have on your seat, unless you need it for sitting up. We'll do a few sitting poses for now. Remaining on our seat for a moment, we'll inhale our arms up. And exhaling everything down. Inhaling arms up. Exhaling, coming down. Inhaling, coming up. Interlacing our hands above our crown, flipping the palms to be facing the ceiling, drawing the backs of our hands to our head, and pressing up with the crown of our skull, keeping our neck long. Taking a few breaths here. We'll inhale, arms come up again. And exhale one more time at your crown. On your next inhale, take your arms all the way up, releasing the interlace. Staying here for a moment, feeling long in your torso, long in your rib cage, long in your spine. And then inhale together, and exhaling, we'll fall on over to the left. Maybe looking up beyond our right arm, feeling a stretch in our right side body. Taking a deep inhale, coming up together. And exhaling, falling to the other side. Taking a few breaths here, aspiring to get your rib cage facing the ceiling, maybe looking beyond your arm. And then on your next inhale, come up. Exhale, we'll bring our arms in front, rounding our spine. And with our hands on the mat, you'll exhale, coming back up. Oops, I did that. Inhale, coming back up. We'll do that again. Inhale. And exhale, round the spine. And then inhale, coming up, up, up. We'll bring our hands in front of ourselves, coming into a tabletop position. We'll do a few cat-cows here. Inhaling, belly comes down, rolling the shoulders back, slightly looking up. And exhaling, belly towards the spine, looking between the legs, feeling a stretch in the back of the neck as well. Inhaling, belly down, chest expands, maybe looking slightly up. And exhale, navel to spine, rounding your back, looking between your legs. A couple more times, following your own breath rhythm, noticing how your body's feeling this morning as we're starting to move. And if you're comfortable here, maybe adding the hips going side to side. Maybe doing a few hip circles here. Coming back to your tabletop position, we'll just do a little twist to continue warming up our spine. We're going to do a twisted child's pose. We did this last night in our practice. So you'll inhale, your right arm comes up, and exhale, coming down under through the left arm, head towards the floor. And if it feels hard on your neck, add a block underneath your head. That should bring the floor closer to you. On your next inhale, push up with your left hand, bringing your right hand to meet your left. Exhale here, and then inhale, your left arm comes up. And exhale, thread it through the right arm, coming under. Head towards the floor, maybe using a block. Feeling the twist in your spine, maybe a stretch in your shoulders. A couple more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, rise your left hand to meet your right. Pause here on your exhale. Tuck your toes. Inhale, lift your knees. And exhale, push back into a downward facing dog. Crazy. Your down dog, you can bend one knee, bend the other, getting into your calves. Just making sure all 10 knuckles of your hand are firmly planted on your ground. There's maybe a slight bend in your elbows, your triceps are rolling in, and your shoulders are not hugging up towards your neck. If you feel any pressure in your low back, maybe make a slight bend in your knees. And here you can shake your head yes, maybe shake your head no. Allowing any tension in your neck to release. Fluttering the lips if you feel necessary. Releasing tension in the jaw. And then eventually coming to stillness. Heels aspiring towards the floor. A couple more breaths here. And then walking yourself up to meet your hands. Uttanasana. Maybe grabbing hold of your elbows. Making sure all four corners of the feet are firmly planted. Thighs engaged. Torso releasing down towards the earth. In your next exhale, release your hands towards the floor. And then inhale, coming all the way up, slowly and mindfully. Hands come up, Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale down into Tadasana. Maybe closing your eyes for a moment. Noticing how your body's starting to feel as we start warming it up, start getting the prana moving. And from here, we'll just flow through one round of Surya Namaskar. So inhale, arms coming up. Exhaling, reaching down towards your toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step the right foot back and then step the left foot back. Plank pose. Coming down, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, upward facing dog. And exhale, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot comes up. Left foot comes up. Uttanasana. Inhale, coming all the way up, root to rise. And exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, other side. Exhale, coming all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Left foot steps back, then right foot steps back. Plank pose. Drop your knees, chest, chin. Exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps up between your hand, followed by the right. Coming down, Uttanasana. Inhale, rooting to rise, arms coming up. Urdhva Hastasana. And exhale, Tadasana. Standing here for a moment more. Now both sides are getting warmed up. And gently opening your eyes. Coming into our first two poses of the standing sequence in Ashtanga. All right, these two poses are very similar and they stem from Uttanasana. Let's see. I don't know where I can do these. All right, so you'll stand at the top of your mat. Inhaling here. Exhaling, I'll just demonstrate for now. Coming all the way down. If you cannot touch your toes, I recommend having a block or even a strap by your side for these poses, and I'll show with both of those. But we're aspiring towards the floor. You're going to take your peace fingers, these two fingers, wrap them around your big toes for Padangustasana, hands to big toe pose. So then we'll inhale here, straightening our arms. And exhaling, bending our elbows to the side, folding forward over our thighs. You can also have a bend in your knees to start with, getting your chest towards your thighs, and then straightening as your chest is on the thighs, coming down, releasing your top portion towards the ground. Making sure, again, we've been talking about these all last week, your four corners of your feet, you're engaged, you're rotating inwards, coming up towards the midline. Fold over. You want to kind of suck your navel in so you can fold over, making sure your hips are you have a little tilt in your pelvis coming down, but your tailbone is still aspiring towards the floor. And then for here, a lot of people, what's a tendency to do, I'll show you. You're pulling down, trying to get your big toes, but look at my shoulders. They're crunched up, right? A big part of this pose is rolling your shoulders, I guess, towards the ceiling in this case, so down your back, making your neck long while still going down towards your toes. Yes. Any questions so far? Okay, I'm going to show you the next pose within this little pair here because they transition well together. So you're going to go from here with your peace fingers on your toes. You're going to halfway lift. Inhaling, exhaling here. The next one's Padahastasana. I guess we can say it together, Padahastasana. And this will take our hands and gently fold them under our feet. Bringing your toes all the way up to your wrist joint. Firmly planting your hands on the ground. Here, there's a big tendency to not be steady in the feet and start rolling on over to the side because we're not on stable ground. So it's really important to bring attention to those four corners. And then if possible, bending your elbows out to the side. Again, you can keep your knees bent. Nora, can you come up so I can use the mic, please? So he has his knees bent because he's aspiring to get his chest towards his thighs. Can you straighten your knees at all? And that's totally fine. That might be where he lives. Another way to do it, which probably wouldn't be in the Ashtanga, but if you want to work on straight knees, you can put a strap underneath your feet. Let's see. Okay. This is for either one. And you'll keep the strap on the floor. So you'll do the same, inhale up, and then exhale, folding forward, maybe grabbing hold of the strap, and then getting the same effect in your arms and your upper back. So bend your elbows to the side to trying to get your big toes or your feet under the ground. And that'll help you get the feeling in your arms. But again, it's okay to have the knees bent and aspire to get them straight. Do I have any questions so far? I'd say hip distance apart is okay. Yeah, because, yes. Huh? Finish.
Is the main goal to lengthen my spine, or is the main goal to
It's a little bit of both, and I guess depending on what you're specifically working on is if you're going to keep your knees bent or use the strap that day. So if you want to make space and lengthen your spine, you're going to want to keep your knees bent. And if you want to start working on the hamstrings a bit more, you're going to want to use the strap. All right. How about I'll have you guys break out into pairs so you can watch each other and see. You want to keep all the same points of Uttanasana here. So you want to make sure you're not falling backwards, you're not falling forwards, that you're still standing up straight and tall. Remember, trapezius is always coming down, and that's a big thing to look for within this pose because your hands are coming and crunching. around your feet, so your muscles will be engaged. So you got to make a conscious effort. So yes, break out into pairs and kind of watch each other and see the differences, subtle differences between these poses. So Padahastasana and Padangustasana.
Maybe I can do it and you can show it the points to keep an eye on. Then it will be for the camera both.
Sure. And if you're a little confused here, I'll have Nord demonstrate so you can look at the points that you need to keep an eye out for. And maybe even be conscious of your breath here. So inhaling, he'll come down on the exhale, grabbing hold of his big toes, inhaling halfway lift, exhaling, bending the elbows and folding forward. So here Nord's keeping his knees bent so he can get his chest on his thighs. Trapezius rolling, yep, I just saw a great adjustment. Your neck is long. Rope come out just a little further, and I see all four corners of his toes are firmly planted. Now we'll do a big inhale here, halfway lift. Exhale, we'll start stepping your hands underneath your feet and bending your elbows out to the side. Padahastasana. Very nice. All right, I'll give you a few minutes to start practicing that. And we'll be walking around with any questions.
Elbows to the side. Of course, I know like both versions. Like someone say you need to bend elbows like back.
Yeah, this
say to the side.
you've had different teachers tell you different things. Okay, here we're working on to the side, and I think that's every teacher I've learned from as well. So I guess different places in the world do different things.
So those are two separate poses, right?
Right.
Not variation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so two separate poses, not variation. Cool.
Yeah.
Just remind them.
I'm looking at your
I
message.
send some feedback.
Yeah.
Just remind them it's not only about bending the knees. It's watch the tailbone position also,
Watch this out.
and try to lift the sitting bones a little higher.
Okay.
And that will help open their hamstrings more.
Okay. So
So
bending
tailbone
back.
position.
Tailbone position.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little
Tailbone
reminder.
lifting or coming down?
Lifting.
Right, sorry. Yeah,
Because
lifting.
you're trying to get
lift,
into the fold, so your tailbone is lifting.
belly and top.
Yeah. So just a few details, and have them watch those details on each other. Check the belly
Yeah.
and check the tailbone,
Okay.
or tailbone then belly.
All right. Good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
you. One more thing to add while you're watching the navel sucking in toward the spine, you want to make sure to help spread and lengthen the low back that your tailbone is reaching up and you're dipping your pelvis forward. So tailbone coming up, it's not all about the hamstrings, it's also spreading the low back and reaching the tailbone.
And the elbow position is the same for both.
For both, yeah, coming outward.
I wonder if you feel if you try to go in a little bit, like
Lengthening. Does that make sense? A little bit. But you also want to make sure you're dipping back further away from your center line as well. So you want to make sure you hear the point of balance. Right. So you might want to bend your knees to help keep your balance and your center in line, and start working on. Yep. Sorry, if you can't get your head where? Hands. Well, that's where you can bend your knees as well. But if you want to start working on like the upper body and getting the feel of rolling the traps down and spreading the arms wide, you use the strap to kind of bring your toes up a little bit and start practicing that. But if you're still working on the legs, you can keep.
for the students, always direct them to the strap.
Or knees bent. All right. we are going to move on to the third and fourth positions in the Ashtanga standing series. So I'll have Nord come up here, wherever he is. So which way? So let's see. Come up to the top of your mat. He'll start in Samastitihi. And then for these poses, the transition, we're going to inhale, step our right foot back. And if you know, we're coming into Trikonasana. So this Trikonasana is going to be a little shorter than the ones we came in from the warrior sequence. It's just about a leg's distance, or I'd say like 3 feet. 3 feet wide. Yeah, good. So his toes are facing forward. He's got a 90 degree because it's an open hip pose. All right, so he'll spread his arms wide and start dipping until he can't anymore, and then drop his arm. Maybe he'll put his hand on his chin, making sure not to put any pressure here, or maybe he'll use a block. Oh, there we go. Classical version of this is peace fingers around big toe, but there's no point in grabbing your big toe if you're collapsing your chest and not able to keep the space and length, as well as having a straight spine. All right, come on up. So to transition to the other side, you'll inhale and then exhale, flip this foot around and this foot around. So you see he's in the same position but doing Trikonasana over to his left, facing the back of his mat, or the side, other side. Coming down. And remember, for Trikonasana, all 4 corners of the feet are firmly planted. We have maybe a micro bend in our knee in case we're hyperextending, and we're externally rotating this leg. This leg's coming in slightly. The back outer arch is firmly down. Your tailbone is releasing down towards the floor, and you're feeling a stretch in your side body. You can look up if that's okay on your neck. Thank you, Nord.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, we faced the back of the shala first, and then we came forward.
Yeah, so where you guys are going to be stepping back with your right foot, looking back. That was hard to demonstrate up here. Okay. Any other guess?
Could you also show us, or is this also for adjustments? Could you show us that, or is there?
We're going to do adjustments this afternoon with Evelina
Mm-hmm.
to take you through the adjustments. Okay. So right now we're just doing alignment.
There you go. Should we show them? I'll show you coming into the next posture because it goes along with this one. It's going to be twisting Trikonasana. So you're going to start. We're going to be facing the back. Can you? Yep. But with your feet out. Come back into your Trikonasana, Nord. Yep. Thank you. And then he'll rotate his feet once more. Nope, towards this side. Yep. So coming back to, I guess, the back of the room. He'll make sure his hips are really square here. There we go. He turns the hips because we're going to come into revolve triangle pose. Parvita Trikonasana. So his hips are square. He's lifting his right arm up. Maybe you helping use his left arm to kind of get that twisting feeling of the core. And then he'll exhale, coming down, bringing his hand to the outer edge of his left foot. Maybe using a block would be really helpful here. And if the block is even hard to use on the outer edge, you can also use the block on the inner edge. And something that is very helpful in this pose, so if your hips are not staying square, you can keep your top arm on the back of your pelvis to help get the pelvis, the feeling of it coming down towards the floor, as well as making sure it's not moving from side to side or up or down. and then you can work on the with your chest being square to the mat, and then slowly work on opening it, even if you keep your hand on your pelvis. And then we'll inhale up. And then we'll rotate our feet, coming to the other side and doing the same thing. Maybe using the block if you need it. Inhaling, arm comes up, and exhaling down into your twisted triangle. Parvita Trikonasana. Very nice. His hips are square. Four corners of both feet are on the ground. External rotation here, internal rotation here. Tailbone coming down. Checking his pelvis. Great. Thank you, Nord.
Are you allowed to bend the knees here?
Um,
And when would you do that?
Bending your front knee and hyperextend, and then in case you're hyperextending, and if you cannot keep your back knee on the ground, back foot on the ground, you can kind of lift it up and keep a slight bend, trying to get getting the twist as you're practicing that motion. Yes.
When coming up, I sometimes have the impression that it doesn't feel very good for the front knee when I come up with a straight back. So I tend to bend the back. Is that
Yeah,
that
that
was just my reflex? Is it a good one or?
that's really preventing that hyperextension, because if you come up with that straight leg, that's putting all the pressure in your front leg. So I think coming up with a bent leg is a smart thing to do, especially if you tend to hyperextend. But you want to make sure you're not putting everything onto your knee or onto your shin. You want to make sure you're engaged and doing the same motions with your leg as you come up. You want to do it with mindful and care and all that. So why don't we all stand up together, and we'll just practice moving to the back of our mat, transition this way, and then I'll send you off practicing with a partner with the alignment points in this pose. All right, so we're in our Tadasana, our Samasthiti. Inhaling, stepping back, rotating our feet towards the back of the room, making sure you have your heel to arch alignment, having your arms out. Right. And then we'll pretend we came into Trikonasana, coming up, rotating the feet back, and then towards the left foot facing the front of your room, back foot at a 90-degree angle. Great. And then we'll practice again because we're coming into revolve triangle. Pretend to go down, and then coming up, inhaling, rotating over, and exhaling, revolve.
Can we lift our feet if we can't get our hips in the right place to get into the triangle?
Yes.
Okay, to lift your feet.
Yes. Like I said, lifting the back heel a little bit to help rotate the hips square. The hips are square. Sorry, I don't know if I made that clear. Hips are square in revolve triangle.
Sometimes we need to step the foot out a little bit and then step the foot out.
So you want to make sure, you can move your feet, make sure you're not on a tightrope, like we were talking about with the square hips point, to give our space more room in the pelvis.
So now it's the revolve, yeah?
So,
So
yeah.
the feet, the rear foot is at 45 degrees.
Helping keep the hips square.
So in revolve triangle, did you have that small little corridor? And,
Yeah.
And in Trikonasana as well?
And Trikonasana, no, because that one's, Because think of it. Parvita will be, the twisting one will be square hips. And then the other one will be regular Trikonasana, will be open hips. Any other questions? Okay, I'll have you guys practice together, practicing your transitions, as well as practicing getting the pose, because I know we've already done Trikonasana. So practice moving in and out of those poses as well.
You have 90 degrees and heels aligned.
Yes. And then the other one you can have, or I'd say even heel, yeah. Yeah.
And how you say, like when we're doing this movement in Trikonasana, how you say this?
Reach your arm forward,
Reach your arm.
and then like exhale, coming down. Okay, yeah.
You raise your eyes back and step 3 feet behind. Then turn around so your feet facing the same part of the knee. Make sure that the ankle
We're coming up at the top of our mats. We'll step our right foot back and face our feet towards the side of a room. Maybe making sure your feet are underneath your hands when you spread them wide. Getting a nice stance here, Nord. Can you come up, please?
This is a water test.
A little bit. All right. And you'll take a deep inhale. Maybe watch Nord for a sec. And exhale, hinging at your hips. Sorry, you're coming forward. Hinging at your hips, keeping your buttocks above your ankles. I come in the center. Prasarita Padottanasana A. Your hands are coming towards the floor. Your head is aspiring to get to the floor. You can have a slight bend in your knees if you feel any pain in your low back or in your hamstrings. Okay, you can come on up now. All right. Here, let me show them. So we'll inhale here. And exhale, coming down towards the floor. Inhale halfway. And exhale, aspiring everything towards the floor. Hands, if you can get, are in line with your feet. And your head is either on or near the floor. And if your head is close to the floor and not touching, you can use a block to help get your head on the floor. And that'll help promote the inversion that this pose has, relaxing your crown, relaxing your energy towards the floor. So that one's A. Your legs are strong. You have a kind of internal rotation. Your glutes are engaged, and your torso is releasing down. Tailbone up. All four corners of the feet are on the ground. You want to make sure your arches aren't collapsing in. That's how it typically tends to happen. You start raising your outer heel. Coming down. And again, to help bring yourself forward, you want to look kind of in front of you rather than back. Because back, you'll start crunching your back. Forward, reaching your chest towards the ground, kind of like you have a string, will help bring you closer to the ground.
It's okay. It's kind of straight.
Then you'll live right here. And then when you can't get any more, that's when it starts rounding. But only once your kind of hips are in the correct position. And if you're kind of here, this is where you live, that's okay. Maybe use 2 blocks. Bringing the floor to you, trying to make sure you get used to that flat back. Your core is engaged, belly tucked in, rolling your shoulders down your back with the neck long, and this might be where you live. So you can inhale here, exhaling, coming down halfway. And this might be where you stay, or you can inhale again and exhale, take you deeper, placing your hands. When your hands are on the ground, you're trying to come into a 90-degree angle with your elbow. And then palms will be wide, fingers flat on the floor. Head aspiring towards the center of your hands. And if you're close, again, you can use a block. I'll just have you try that one on your own for maybe 2 minutes, and then we'll just go through the sequence. You'll be in the same position. That was A. A is, I wrote this as well. A is hands on the floor. Prasarita Padottanasana. We can say it together. Prasarita Padottanasana. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, when I'm doing Trikonasana
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like this, no?
Mm-hmm.
Can I move the hips like this or no?
It's
Don't
recommended.
understand.
So you can move it a little bit, but you don't want to move it so it's cha-chawing and you're coming down like
But
this.
I'm like this.
Mm-hmm.
I do this. Is it possible?
Yeah, that's okay. So then you're sucking the bone and your thigh bone back more into the socket as you come down.
Okay. So this is okay.
Yeah. Just
But
make
I don't
sure
have to
this
do
is the
this.
full cha-cha that totally makes your hips more forward and you're collapsing your chest. So as long as you keep your chest open, you stay in your straight line. You can practice on a wall too. See how your body moves on a wall, and make sure when the hips are moving, they're not moving like this. But there's going to be a little bit of a slight movement.
Okay, the point is not to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you do want to eventually start keeping it. When you get more flexibility, it'll start becoming more straight.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The feet are in line with the sides of your mat, maybe toes even turning in slightly.
If I come on the floor with my hand,
Mhm.
I should do that, right?
Yes.
This is can you see if this is
Yeah.
right?
Yep. You want to hug your elbows in. So start. So your elbows will come back.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. And then I can say
Yep. And you hang out there. Maybe even a little more. You want to get that rotation. A. Prasarita A. Okay. All right. Bringing your attention back to the front, we're going to move on to B. And I'll combine B and C here. So B, same pose, you're in the same position. But here we're going to inhale and exhale with our hands on our hips. And that's just where we're going to live. Kind of helping build more strength in the thighs. You want to make sure they're super straight and strong. And your elbows are aspiring to get as back as possible. So they're not out here, they're engaged, coming backwards, coming together. We'll inhale and come up in the series, but your feet will stay the same. So then, and then you'll come into the next posture. And I'll show you C real quick because it's a pretty fast moving. C will be hands behind your back, interlaced. And if you have trouble interlacing, you can grab hold of a strap or a sarong, or you can just hug your elbows. So I'm going to fold this way because I keep talking the other way. So you'll inhale and exhale, coming forward. Head towards the floor. Arms coming overhead. You want to make sure to roll your shoulders back and down your back and then come over. That helps prevent your shoulders from hugging into your ears. So back and down and then coming over. And then you inhale, coming up. And then I will show you D right now, and then I'll let you go practice for just a few moments. D. Inhale. Exhale, hinging at the hips, keeping your legs strong. Coming down. You'll grab your peace fingers around your big toes. Tailbone coming up, head aspiring towards the floor. And you want to make sure your arms are engaged. So look, there's almost a right angle in my arms. Arms are at 90 degrees, biceps engaged. You're pulling up on your big toes while also helping pull your head down. And then inhale, coming up. I'd say classically it's the toes. But there are, in some classes I've been, you can bend the knees, at least slightly micro bend the knees if need be, if you're feeling any pressure in the back of your hamstrings or in your low back.
And reminder about pelvic position as well.
Yep. Yep. So tailbone aspiring up, navel tucked in and coming over. Tailbone releasing, helping come up, releasing your spine down towards the floor.
In the last one, we start with hands here, or
Yeah, you can start with hands here. Just very nice job.
Okay, why don't you do Oh, really?
What I would do is keep the blocks under your shoulders if that's where you're working, and keep it aspiring for the straight back and then bending back.
Melting under the stick, melty. Wiggly. Flat back. Flat back. What else?
Internal. Maybe micro bend the knees if you hyperextend.
And I saw Nord on one of them. His feet were kind of like that.
Yeah, so make sure your feet are either to the sides of your mat or even it will be helpful to get that internal rotation.
Okay,
feet,
so
toes.
this is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
Okay.
As long as they're just not out further than.
And is it so like if someone wants to go further, could you tell them to bring your legs more open?
Yes and no. That will help you get closer to the ground, and some people will instruct you, but then you're kind of cheating the stretch in the other way. So it's better to kind of work where you are, and then it'll help you work the other parts of your body rather than always just getting yourself down to the floor.
Okay. It's hard because I've been doing like hot yoga and like a lot of this stuff, it contradicts it. Like it's always like lock your knees, lock your knees, lock your knees.
Never lock your knees.
And
It's more, I think what they're getting at there is engage the thighs.
yeah.
But you want to feel that difference because locking your knees, you tell hyperextending
Right.
people to lock their knees and
So
they're.
I guess what they failed to say is like just like don't hyper. I don't know. Maybe just, they say you want to see your kneecaps lift up.
So kneecaps lifting up is different than locking your knees. Yeah.
They say that.
Yeah. So just need a little switch in their
And then in
cueing.
that one as well, when we come down and do this one,
They say put your hands on the outside and to sink deeper. Oh no, actually they say to sink deeper. Yeah, I think what you said.
Yeah. But I'm just saying the Ashtanga series that we're working on in that last one is the big toes.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Pee Wee? I'm good.
For that one, I think you covered it pretty
Okay.
much.
All right. I'll do
you have
Parshva
30
right now.
minutes.
Yep. Well, then we've already done
you
the
have
Utthita.
standing, you've done that.
And we've already done so Parshva and then.
So it's just and you've done everything else.
Yeah.
Chair pose maybe.
Yeah, chair pose. But I figured.
So they're just going to review the standing balance.
Yeah. And that's just the. Do I need to put a Surya Namaskar within there, or
I don't think so.
Yeah.
There might be one somewhere, but
For right now, yeah, I
right now
didn't
just
think. All right. How did that feel for everybody? Doing all right? Kind of feeling the differences between A, B, and C and D. All right, I've gotten a few questions about feet position. And we have the internal rotation of our thighs, but to help get that, it's okay to have the heels out a little bit more and the toes pointed in. And that'll help bring your everything towards your midline, and then you can tuck your tummy in, getting the tailbone up and coming forward. You just want to make sure your feet are not facing to the outer edges of your mat. Just for clarification. All right, we're going to move on over to the next pose, which is another new pose. So we'll come to the front of our mats in Samastitihi. That's okay. I just want to make sure to get through all the poses with you guys before and get you on time. So we're up at the front of our mats at Samastitihi. Step our right foot back slightly. Maybe having the same distance as Trikonasana, the 3 feet in between. And then we'll turn ourselves to the back of the room. You guys can watch me demonstrate the pose. So this one's called Parsvottanasana, and it's pyramid pose. So our legs are going to be kind of in a pyramid. It's very important, I think, key aspect here is that your hips are square. And you want to make sure that you step out enough that you're not on a tightrope, okay? Because your hips are really going to need it in this pose. So you're completely square like you would be in revolved triangle. And then the hand position, I'll show you, is a reverse namaste. Yeah, okay, cool. Here, what? No, it's going to be the prayer pose behind our back. So why don't you face the back of the room? You regret coming up here? So look, so he's going to come up into reverse namaste on his back. You notice his chest is still wide. He's not collapsing his chest so he can try to get the pose. And his hands are fitting kind of up in between the shoulder blades, helping push the chest forward and expanding it open. Thank you, Nord. And if you do not worry if you cannot get to reverse namaste right now, you can always grab hold of the elbows and work there. Just making sure to keep the chest expanded. So we're not on a tightrope. We have about 3 feet distance in between our legs, like a leg's distance. We're coming into reverse namaste, up our backs, or grabbing hold of the elbows. You'll take an inhale here. Exhale, you'll really draw that navel towards the spine. Coming over the front standing leg. Back foot, both legs are super straight, sort of facing the front a bit. So you're in that 45-degree angle here. You really want straight, strong legs, but making sure not to hyperextend. And it's really important to keep your hips straight. That'll help you get your navel over your thigh. And you, yep. Or even further. We're trying to get our chest down, so maybe just slightly in front of you. Remember, when you look back, that's when you start rounding your spine, so you want to kind of just gaze right above your big toe. Coming down over your front thigh. You can also, to take the arm position out of the picture here, you can keep your hands on your hips, and that'll really help you feel if your hips start being square. I remember when I first started doing this pose, I had no idea where my hips were. I never knew I was out of line because I was always kind of like this. I was like, but I'm here. And my hips were completely out. So I always started working on keeping my hands on my hips to keep them facing forward. Right. And then to go to the other side, you'll do the same transition that we did for Trikonasana, but you might have to walk your feet out just a little bit, making sure you're not on that tightrope. Mm-hmm.
I've heard if you're doing reverse namaste, you should only do it if your palms can completely touch. Like,
Yeah, that's the typical, but if you're still like, it's still important to keep working it as long as you're not collapsing here, as long as you can keep the opening of your chest. Yeah, but if we all start here. If we never work on it, we're never gonna get it. Just make sure to keep this open. So I'll give you guys just a few moments to practice there, and then we'll go on to the rest of the sequence, which will be mostly review.
I haven't really heard that. I would not say that.
Rolling back your shoulders and then
Yeah.
Belly in, belly in. Oh my God.
That's great. That's where we're going. His shoulder blades are coming out. He's really pushing his chest open.
really? This is how it's supposed to be?
I mean, I can
Well,
do that without doing this. I
yeah.
can move them.
All bodies are different.
Wow.
Yep, very nice.
I can micromanage.
I think it's cannot, if you tuck it down, then you will be short.
No, I mean, the sitting bone is like facing down.
But I think it has to go up.
It has to go up if you fold. Yes, we're facing down, and then you bring the belly in and kind of really, to get your chest to the ground, the tailbone has to naturally come up. So your spine is in reverse. All right, I want everyone to look up here for a moment. I want to show you just kind of how it works with the blocks. I think I already showed you, but so we can have our blocks here. Inhale, exhale, coming down. And really just work here trying to straighten your hips, to making your hips square, rolling the shoulders down the back and keeping your chest expanded. And this might be where you live if you find that you're rounding too early. If you're hanging out like this or like this, just add some blocks. This is a really great pose to use some blocks. And you want, if you use blocks in this pose, you want 2 blocks because you don't want to be trying to go on 1 block. You're closing your chest. So 2 blocks will help open your chest. Blocks underneath your shoulders. Yeah, beautiful use. And just a couple more moments.
No, just like Starting here. Oh, okay. Yeah, and then back. Even more, I would say.
My back straight now. Can you keep my back straight now?
Out your hips. And then
Now it's not fair. Now it's so
shoulder
sorry. Inside
space. And hold your shoulders back. You can hold your interlock. Pay attention to how your shoulders are now. Yeah, keep them in mind and just gently lower yourself from the lower back only. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Pay attention to your shoulders. Couldn't read this so well. This one was Prasarita Pada Tanasana.
Padottanasana. Padottanasana.
Number 7, right? Here.
You guys
Who-
also,
Is it the
I think
O
we're
or
given
an A?
this, right?
Oh yeah.
You'll have all the poses are here.
Oh, okay. Pado. Oh, okay. Okay. Because security, then you're stretching the thighs that will allow you to eventually reach there. As long as you're curving your back, nothing is happening below.
Yep. All right, everyone come to the top of your mats.
So, or chairs, so we can
The next sequence is going to be a few standing balances that we've already worked on, so I'm just going to take you through those as we would in a class. So up, 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 up. We're going to start with Uttita Hasta Padangustasana. Uttita Hasta? Say it. Padangustasana. Fantastic. So stand at the tops of your mats. Maybe your feet are in line, are parallel, facing the front. Have a strap nearby if you choose to use one. Very nice. Okay, we'll inhale, lifting our leg, our left leg. Keeping our right leg foot firm on the ground, reaching for our big toe with our peace fingers. And then extending it out in front of us. And we'll be here for 5 breaths. Maybe try using your Ujjayi breath, opening the channels within your body. And here in the Ashtanga practice, we kind of, if you can grab your big toe, you can reach your head towards your leg, but that's only if you can keep a straight back. Inhaling here and exhaling out to the side. Maybe using your arm on the other side. Yep. And looking over to your right hand. Inhaling back to center. If you're using a strap, let the strap go and just hold the foot up. We're working on strength here. Strength of our quads, strength of our hip flexors. Reaching high to the sky. Keeping your leg as straight as possible. And exhale, releasing everything down. Maybe shaking it out a little bit.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Should we flex the foot or straight or pointing?
Uh,
Today you said.
Yeah.
But it's easier if you flex it, right?
I'd say Pee-wee. In this pose, is it a flex or a point or a floint?
According
'Cause-
to Ashtanga, it's point.
It's point.
Flointed.
Okay, so if we're doing the Ashtanga, it's a true point. But if you notice me, I keep my toes kind of facing up as well.
Activate the balls of the toes,
Yeah.
have more control
Of the thigh.
Because, when you point, your quads actually disengage.
Mhm.
But if you open the toes of the feet, your thigh can help you put your leg up.
All right, so for Ashtanga purposes, it's a point. For trying to engage your quads and really get into the pose, we'll floint. All right, let's move on to the other side. So we'll inhale, our right leg comes up. And then reaching towards our big toe, and then straightening out if possible. And it's okay if we're still working with a strap or if our knees bent. Be here for 5 breaths. Finding your drishti is going to help you balance. Maybe reaching the arm up. And then opening it out to the other side. Moving your arm parallel to the floor. Looking over to your left hand if possible. And then inhaling everything back to center, holding up. Point or floint, your journey. Building strength. So you keep your core very engaged, working the core, hip flexors, thigh. Leaning back, we're getting into the back, and that's not what we want in this pose. All right, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. And we're coming into our next standing pose, Ardha Baddha Padmatasana, which we've also already done. I'm gonna need Nord up here with his lotus leg.
Ardha
Padma, that's what it says here. Yeah.
Padmasana.
Ardha Padmasana.
Okay.
So we learned it as Ardha Padmasana last week. But if you guys were given your Ashtanga sequence in your welcome bag, you can also look there. All the poses are there as well as all of the names.
Baddha would be with this one?
Yeah. So yeah. So here we're adding another layer to this pose. He'll carefully and mindfully bring his foot up into his groin in the lotus position. Reaching around with his opposite hand. So the leg that's up is the hand that'll go around and grab that toe. And then if possible, he'll take an inhale here and exhale, bending at the hips, tucking your belly in, aspiring towards the floor. Where's the blocks? Give you a block. So it's standing legs, straight and strong, little micro bend. I can't find a block, but here's that. So that'll be the full expression of this pose in the Ashtanga sequence. I want to remind everyone, be very gentle with your knee. You can come out. Be very gentle with your knees here. Don't force lotus pose. We want to make sure we're twisting we're rotating our leg from the hip and not from the shin and the knee. Yep.
Can we try again with the figure 4?
Yep, and so if you can't do the lotus wrap, you can just hang out in your figure 4 and then just start coming down towards the ground, reaching. Yep, but again, in figure 4, make sure you have that micro bend in your standing leg because the hip is going to start pushing this leg and forcing it to hyperextend, so you want to keep that micro bend. You want to be very conscious of that when you do it. So just a few moments here, feeling into this position, this posture, being extra mindful of your knee and where your body is at. And when we fold forward, we're folding at the hip, bringing our tailbone up, coming down towards the mat. And if you're close but can't quite touch, maybe use a block to bring the floor to you. Anything else? I don't think that one's in this, but we did that last week. Yep.
I think we attach if we roll the half out and the
Very good point. So yeah, when you're squeezing your calf and your thigh together, I think I showed you this in Virasana. It's really helpful to move the flesh of your calf away, as well as you can do that with the upper, your hamstring as well, helping you find your way further into the pose because there's less stuff stopping you from getting there.
and also because of the knee, because you want to protect the knee and then open the foot
Mm-hmm.
and the toe is facing up so that
Yeah, so you're extending your thigh down, rotating the ankle in towards the groin. Oh. That looks really beautiful, actually. Mhm. Yeah, so you keep it, yeah. Just a few more moments, maybe one more minute.
And when I come in, it's hard for me to grab like from here, but as soon as I start to lean, I can grab.
Well, you notice you're opening your hip a little bit too. Yeah. So, yeah. You can put it here for now and then just start moving it. Yeah.
So if I can't grab it now, don't grab it when I lean.
Well, lean forward. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Keep you in the bind. But it's as long as now I see what's happening. So now that you're grabbing it, this is starting to splay out just a little bit. So just make sure if you're grabbing it, your hips stay square. So it's kind of like self-study. If you can grab it while keeping the hips square, great. But if you can't, just keep working it towards the toes.
But in the end, both if we're doing the correct one, the part with the locus, our back foot should be like straight.
Sorry? Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is what we. Can you see if I do it?
Yeah. Keep your micro bend.
I
And
cannot touch it, so I just put
that's
it
fine. Exactly.
Yeah, during the day. And just think it's
Yep. There you go.
And now from here, I try to.
Yeah, but you want to keep that micro bend just so it's not. Yeah, but exactly. Now the floor is to you. You can help straighten yourself, making sure your hips. Whoop. Very good. All right, we're gonna get on, move into the next pose of Utkatasana. Used a lot in Surya Namaskar B, so I'm sure many of you are familiar with this one. I'll have everybody stand. So we're almost finished. On your feet, on your feet. I need a block. I don't know. My blocks went over here. That's what happened. I was like, where are my blocks? All right, everybody on your feet, please. And a block nearby. So Utkatasana, I believe you guys, many of you are familiar with it. It's chair pose. The full expression will come down. Maybe Nord can come up and help me. Yep, Philip's already got it going. We're going to work with a block in between our thigh to help feel that rotation of our thighs, helping keep our core engaged. Yep. So he'll inhale, his arms coming up, and exhale, he'll just sit, his sit bones back like he's sitting in a chair. He's going to make sure he doesn't tilt his pelvis too far back. We want to keep that core engaged. Arms are straight along with his back. His traps are moving down his back. There's an internal rotation of the triceps. You want your pinkies, your thumbs facing towards you, your pinkies facing the other way. How does that feel?
Feels good.
Great. You want to stay for a little longer? Yeah. So it's a big thigh work. So let's all together, we'll step back with the block. This will help get all the energy running to the midline, the internal rotation. Great. Inhale and then exhale, sitting back and down, making sure all four corners of the feet are planted. Here to help get through your four corners of the feet, you maybe lift your toes even, helping push the ball of your feet down. And then you'll start feeling your quads engaged. And then make sure you're not dumping, you're not rounding your spine either way. You want to keep your core very engaged. So I always like to kind of even motion myself, tailbone down, strong core. And then if you have tight shoulders, you want to keep your arms farther apart. So you can keep your chest lifted. But we're aspiring to get them in line with our body and straight. Pinkies facing the ground. Yep.
Am I correct that the chair pose in Ashtanga is different than in Hatha and Vinyasa? Because I think in Ashtanga we try to not to bring the arms forward, but
To bring it up just a little bit.
look up and
Yeah, we are. Well, we're sitting down.
That's the position of the tailbone. If you scoot
Yeah.
just a little bit, then you can stretch your chest up and your arms will automatically.
Yeah, as I was saying, scooping the tailbone, core engage will help bring the torso.
Because if your torso is oriented forward, you can't bring the arms up. But if the torso orients up, the arms are
So yeah, you can use your hand to help scoop your tailbone down yourself, even for a little self-adjustment.
Just try to strike the balance between scooping too much and feeling it in your knees, or not scooping and feeling it in your back as you try to lift your arms up. So you need to find the balance between those two.
We'll do a couple more moments here, and then I'll finish the sequence with you with the warriors. Just to show you how to transition smoothly. And when you feel comfortable with the block, you can remove the block in practice. Then you can either bring your toes together, or if it feels better in your hips to keep them a little wider apart, go for it. Whatever helps you keep your four corners on the ground. But if your feet are far apart, you don't want to knock your knees in. If your feet are hips width distant apart, so are your knees. With the block, you want a little space with your feet. Mm-hmm.
Before two silent. Okay. Not all. Only three.
All right.
Yeah, well, this is actually something we wanted to ask.
Yeah.
Some of us were like wanting more core work,
Mhm.
just because we know that's a weakness. And I mean, of course, we can do it on our own
Yeah.
anytime. But we were like, I wonder if one of the teachers would come at like 2:15 for whoever wanted to do like
To
15
do core
minutes
work.
of core before.
Let's see. Who's doing? Maybe Nord's doing yoga nidra today. I'm not sure.
Maybe. Just
Yeah.
maybe it's like if there was like a few
A
extra days of core,
recommendation.
there was like at least 5 of us who were like, yes, we
Let's
come
do more core.
early to do that.
Maybe one of you guys could lead it too.
Well, right, that's the
Yeah.
thing, is none of us
Self
are strong enough.
self
Right.
lead.
Or
But also, every time I say core engaged, it's a great position to keep core engaged. Garudasana, eagle pose is a really good core work.
Right, but I think I need the like.
You need the actual, like Navasana and core.
Yeah, not even Navasana, because even Navasana, I can tell my core
Okay.
isn't strong enough. It goes all to my lower back.
All right.
Navasana.
We did this with the Indian guy. I did some
Manish or Rohil?
Manish, we did some core.
no,
Yeah.
the other one. The
Rohil? You're working on maybe inversions or no back bends today.
the other last class.
All right, everybody come to the top of your mat. How did that feel? Finishing up with a couple of warriors and then we'll Shavasana. So we'll stand up in Samasthiti. And since I won't go over the warriors too much with you, we've already done this, I'm just going to transition with you here. So just 2 more poses, 2 more little sections. So actually, I'm going to have you start in down dog because there's sometimes a vinyasa in between coming from Utkatasana. We'll step our right leg forward, having warrior 1 legs. Inhale here. We're going to hold for a few moments, reaching up towards the sky, making sure we're not on a tightrope. Hips facing forward, tailbone aspiring down. We have that neutral pelvis. Arms a little wider if need be. If it feels okay on your shoulders and you're not crunching up, you can bring them together. And then with keeping our arms up, we'll start rotating our legs and rotate into the back of the room. And making sure you're not on a tightrope here. Making sure you have square hips to the back. Inhaling a couple breaths. Very nice. Then we'll come back. We'll turn our left foot back to center. And we'll exhale, arms coming out. Rotating the right foot forward again. And coming into your warrior 2. So you want to now make sure you have a heel to arch alignment. Sinking into your front hip. Keeping your torso up straight. Looking out over the drishti beyond your middle finger. And then keeping your arms wide still, you'll bring your right foot to the side of the mat and then rotate the left foot out to the back of the room, keeping the heel to arch alignment sinking into your front hip, your front leg. Arms are about shoulder height. Couple breaths here. Inhaling back through our center, facing the side of the mat, and then bringing your feet together, either hop or step it, and then coming back up, to Samastitihi. And now everyone can take a deep breath and lie down for your Shavasana. Nice job. We did some review, learned some new poses, and learned some sequence. Nice job. Noticing how your body feels against your mats. How your body feels after all the hard work we've done in the body. And how it feels after learning all of this new information. Taking a big, deep inhale together. Filling your belly, filling your chest. And exhaling completely. Inhaling together. And exhaling everything out. Coming back to normal breathing. Noticing how your body feels with this prana that's started moving with each pose and each breath. Allowing each breath to soften you deeper into the floor. Gently start deepening your breath. Coming back to your body and back to the space. Maybe wiggling your fingers and wiggling your toes. Maybe rolling your head side to side. Having a nice stretch wherever you feel like you need it. And then rolling on over to your right side. Having one last moment of stillness, of peace, of you. And slowly pressing up with your left hand, head coming last, coming into a seated position. Noticing how your body feels now compared to the beginning of our practice, of our time. Maybe coming back to your intention. We'll end class with one Om together. Inhaling here. Exhaling completely. And inhaling for Om. Maybe rubbing your palms together, generating heat and warmth and love. Placing them over your eyes and wherever else on your body that you feel needs extra attention today. Softly opening your eyes and namaste. Thank you. Have a beautiful breakfast and a beautiful day. I think that was it for my classes with you today. So enjoy. Yeah. No, yeah.